Good morning, guys. Today, inshallah, we're going to continue section 2 of chapter 5. We'll still talk about electron configuration and the periodic table. So, in this part, we're going to talk about the D block and the P block and of the periodic table. So, with D block, we said that the part in the middle of the periodic table, which represent the elements that already start to occupy the sub-energy level D. As we know, sub-energy level D start to appear in the third energy level, but because the energy of the 3D sub-level is is higher than the energy of 4S, so it prepared to fill the 4S before the 3D. That's why we will not find that the D elements or the D block elements will not appear before the fourth period in the periodic table. We call elements in the D block or this part, we call them the transition elements or transition metals because most of them or all of them, they are metals. They are typically metals, have the normal physical properties of metal, which we know. They have high density, they are shiny, they're good conductors of electricity and heat, blah, 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 all this as we know. But they are less reactive than elements in group 2 and group 1, of course, okay? So here then we said that let's find how we could locate an element in the D block. So we said that he asked you an element that has electrons configuration, okay, for krypton 4D5 and 5S1. Without looking at the periodic table, identify the period block and the group of these elements. So how we could answer a question like this? Actually, guys, we have here a way to answer the question. Simply, we gonna find, he asked about, that's here our electron configuration. So we first need to find the period. So we said that period refers to the number or the highest number of n. N means the main energy level. So x 5 here, that the highest energy level. So it represents the fifth period. So the period, we have the fifth period, that's the period. Then he asked about the block, okay? So because the element already have the D sub energy level is not completely filled, so it means, okay, we still in the D block, okay, because we didn't finish this. We know that the block could carry up to 10 electrons, but just have 5. So that means this element will be found in the D block. Although here we find 5s is occupied, but because already we know 5s is less than or energy than D, we just start to fill it first, but means we didn't finish the D yet, so we are in D block, okay? So here then he asked which group, how we could find the group. So actually we could find the group of the transition element, that's by adding the number of electrons which found in the energy level S, okay, and also the number of electrons which found in the D block. So here we have 5 plus 1, they are gonna be 6. So we are in the group number 6 of transition elements. That means in the D block, we're gonna count the 6th column that we are gonna find. We are in the column number 6. Okay, so here he asked about the group, so we are gonna say that's group 6. Okay, so let's check our answers here, guys. Okay, so just a minute. So we said that here in fifth period, D block, and we said that's found in group number 6. Okay, so if we back to the periodic table, of course, we're gonna find the group 6 element is, okay, molybdenum. So here that's where no, or that's our answer is true, of course. Of course, an exam will be, okay, supplied by an image for the periodic table, so you can back to the periodic table when he asks you to back that. Okay, so here's that. The P block or the elements which found in the right side of the periodic table, actually, that's the P block elements which already have electrons that fill the P sub energy levels. So this elements consist of all the elements of group 13 up to 18, except helium. Of course, helium is a special case, okay? Because helium just filled the energy level S1, S2, but it added here to the gas because of the match their properties, as we said last time. So the P block elements together with the S block elements are called the main group elements. That's why they have letter A. So we find group 1 is called 1A, the group 2, 2A. Then we start, okay, in the B block 3A, 4A until we reach the last group. So that's why we call them the main group. And what the transition elements or the D block and F block, they don't carry this letter A, okay? So here we see that the properties of elements of the P block are very, okay, very, okay, greatly, or we have a lot of variety of this. So we're gonna find some of these, most of them are, they are non-metals, some of them are metalloids. That means they are semi-non-metals or semi-metals. They have some properties of both of them. So we said that at right hand, we are of the P block includes all of non-metals except hydrogen and helium, because hydrogen actually is non-metal, but it's found in the left hand or above the group 1. Helium is noble gas, okay, and it's belong to the doesn't belong to the P block. Then here we find all the 6 of the metalloids, okay, are also found in the P block. And here at the left-hand side of the bottom of the p block, okay, we're finding that the R metals. So that means the p blocks, we are gonna find some R metals that which found at the top of the right hand, while the bottom of the left hand of the p block, they are non-metals. In the middle between them, diagonal shape, okay, or diagonal six elements, they are metalloids, okay. So here that's represent high variety in the p block. The elements in the group 17, okay, or just to show this before we pass it here, guys, I just want to show that this. So here you can see all these are non-metals, these are metals, and this, okay, the yellow one, they actually represent the metalloids. So here that's to show the variety of the p block, okay, guys. So here that the idea, or that's how we show, or that's how we could represent the variety that found in the p block. Elements of group 17, okay, or the column before the last, okay, we'll call them halogens, or we'll call them group 7a. They include fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and acetylene. Okay, so these elements, or these halogens, are most reactive non-metal evers. Okay, they easily, or their outer energy level is just have 7 electrons. Okay, so they easily, they can gain 1 electron, okay, and react very vigorously. So we find they can react easily with metals, especially group 1 and group 2, and they form whatever or compounds known as salts, okay. So here the metalloids, they are semiconductors. Metalloids, actually, they are elements which have the properties of metals and non-metals, and we call them, they are semiconductor. That means their conductivity to of electricity changes by changing the temperature, and that's the idea why we use them to make the microchips and something like this, okay? Metals of P block are generally harder and denser than the S block alkaline earth metal, but it's softer and less dense than the D block metals. So they considered as between that group 1 and the transition elements. That's our lesson for today, guys. Next time, inshallah, we're gonna continue the rest of the lesson. Goodbye.